triggers and symptoms of stress and anxiety. Am I not audible now? Am I audible now? Can you hear me? Am I audible? Oh, still no. Just give me 1 second. I'll just see what is the problem. Am I audible now? Can you hear me? Is it clear? Can you hear me now? Because my system, laptop has no issues. Okay, great. So, friends, good evening once again. If you've not heard me earlier, and today's topic is we're going to talk about identifying triggers and symptoms of stress. Now, it's a very important thing. If we don't know what we are going through, then how can we even control? How can we even do anything about it, right? So, and let me tell you, stress is not always bad, you know. Little stress we all require because it motivates us, it pushes us to go get going and do things in life. So, little stress is always required. It's only we need to identify the optimal level. What is the stress that is helping us do things? And beyond that, if you're stressed and if you're getting anxious, then that becomes harmful. So we need to optimize things. Like we say, anything too much of anything is not helpful. Same way, too much of stress is not helpful. Little bit is always required because we all have ambitions, we all have dreams, and we need to push ourselves to achieve them, right? Hope you all are agreeing with me on this. Or is there anybody who feels that no, we don't need stress at all? We are just doers, we are go-getters, and we do everything in our life without that. Yeah. But yes, having said that, tell me one thing. How many of you feel like, you know, suddenly one fine day you feel that your friends hate you, or you know, you become very conscious if you have to go to a coffee shop or you have to go for dinner or any outing. You just become very, very conscious and you just feel nervous and not want to go anywhere. Do you experience that? And suddenly you feel the whole world is turned around you, is out to get you, you know, there everything is against you. Yeah, sometimes it happens. Yeah. So what is that? That is anxiety. These are the symptoms that you are getting anxious. And once you identify, okay, you know, what we do is generally we feel, okay, no, we try to suppress it, we don't try to accept it, we don't become aware of it. And this happens earlier. I mean, sometimes it happens, not very frequently, but then these instances and these incidents and these experiences become very frequent. So if you know that this is anxiety that is making me feel in such a way, making me think that my friends are against me, people are against me, you become very, very conscious, then you can at least take a step to control it. And then there are a few things, you know, if you do few things that will escalate that feeling. There are few things that you do that will comfort you. So what we need to do is we need to identify what it is. So let's talk about the triggers first. What triggers you? You suddenly become very stressful, you suddenly become very anxious. So why does that happen? Yeah. See, sometimes if you have some big events you have to plan for, whether it be on a personal level or on your home front, wherever, you just become stressed, right? You, because we think and overthink about it. We start living that event before we even that event has become live. If you're planning a program, you will think, iske baad I'm going to do this, then this, so many people will come, people will behave in this particular manner, this is how people will react. This, we try, we come up with a story, we come up with a whole narration, we picturize everything we see in our own mind. And one thing is we brain doesn't understand what is real and what is imaginary. So if you're imagining something in your mind, like for example, if you're planning for an event, or it could be anything work related also, any presentation or any responsibility, anything that that has been delegated to you, and you start imagining, you start some vision you create. Your brain feels this is happening really, and when it feels that it is happening really, then what happens is it will start creating the emotions. It'll start creating anxiety. Start creating stress. That's where we people generally stress out, before the event, any big event, before anything big that we're planning. It could be any function that we're organizing. It could be anything in the family or on the professional front. So we need to be very, very careful that even if there is a big task on hand, we don't need to think and create a story and make a big picture out of it before it has actually happened. So that's something, if we are aware of it, we can monitor and we can control. But if we are not aware, what are we doing, where the thoughts are going, we can't do that. So that is one trigger, if you have to uh, plan something, or and also this happens when you have to meet new people, sometimes when you know that there's a meeting or some new customers, high end customers, in case if you all, like, I'm sure you all are professionals working somewhere. So if you have to meet some new clients or some new people in life, some very important people, you create that anxiety that what will he think, what will she think about me. You start assuming, you start judging about what their opinion, all those thoughts come in. So these are anxiety. These thoughts create anxiety in you. So these are the symptoms and these are the triggers. So when what I'm trying to tell you is, when you see that these thoughts are coming, you need to just take a pause and not allow those thoughts to manifest and grow. That's what we can do. So I mean, what I would suggest you all to do is, that you need to write down what are the thoughts that are your triggers. See, my triggers would be different, your triggers would be different. Each person's capacity to handle stress, handle anxiety is very different, right? So the triggers also would be different, symptoms would be different, everything is different for each one. So you need to sit down and write down what exactly is the trigger, what causes you those thoughts and those feelings, whether it be stress, anxiety, whatever. At the same time, what I would urge is, you need to talk about it, whether it be your family. Yeah, I'm coming to that, Ishwar. When you identify that, how do you handle it? I'm just coming to that. One thing is, you need to talk about it. You know that, you're getting anxious about something that you have to perform, or something that is some task that has been given to you. So you need to talk to someone. It could be your parent, it could be your friend, it could be your spouse, whoever you think can comfort you, who will not judge you and understand you fully. Because at that point, you don't need any suggestions, you don't need any guidance, you don't need any advice. All you need is someone who can hear you, understand you. And at times, you don't even want to hear anything, you just want to talk it out. So you need to identify who is the person on whom you can rely for this kind of support in life. Yeah. So once you identify the triggers, also try and identify who is the best person with whom you can share. Of course, if you think you don't have anyone, of course, that's where the professionals, life coaches come in picture. But then that's later on. But I'm sure in each one's life, each one's family, we have someone whom we can trust upon, right? So that is something very, very important. And then how to handle it. Now, how do we handle? First thing is we talk about it to somebody. The second is soothing music. Sometimes, music also is very, very effective in bringing down your stress levels. So each one's weapon to beat down the stress is very, very different. So soothing music is something that has helped most of the time and many of them. Also, you can go for some kind of meditation. Now, I'm not saying do meditation when you are stressed. It doesn't work that way, right? So what you can do is you can inculcate the habit of meditating on a regular basis. You 15 minutes in the morning, 15 minutes before going to bed. That's not difficult, right? If you try and become, you get onto meditation, beforehand only. Meditation can help you. Breathing can help you. Yeah. Or just go and lie down. For some people, it just helps. Don't talk. If you're stressed, just relax. Have a power nap of 10 to 15 minutes. And what you need to do, when you are writing your triggers, you also need to write down what is it that has comforted you, what is it that has helped you. So what happens is, Sneha, the best time to meditate is early morning. What time do you generally wake up? If you wake up at 5, 6 o'clock, then that's the best time, because that's the time when your subconscious mind is so much more it is so much more awake. Like how we have our internet, if you have to download something, huge files and all, we do it when middle of the night or early morning, right? Why do we do that? Because there are not many users at that point in time, so it is easy, and the internet speed is much better and higher. So same way, when people are sleeping, there is not so much of disturbance around, right? If you're waking up at 4 and 5, nothing like it. That's the best time when your subconscious mind is very awake, and whatever you meditate and whatever you think, I mean, whichever type of meditation you're doing, that will seep in to the bottom, and it will give you the best results. Which is where people have always been talking about waking up early and going to bed, right? There was some logic. Now, for whatever reasons, we have always laughed on it, and some people have agreed, some people have not. But anyways, long and short is that yes, if you follow that practice, it's going to help you big time. Like the internet example you just remember, when not many users are there, the effect and the result and the outcome is much better. Same way, when if you do meditation in early morning, or 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock also is okay. But of course, if you can't, then yes, whatever time you wake up, you can do before starting your day, before getting into your daily routine work, and also before sleeping, if you can do, just resolve all the problems that you've had through the day in your mind, and then go to sleep. So this overall stress and anxiety levels come down in life. Yeah. And what else? What else do you think? People at some point, if you have a cold water shower, also it helps. It helps some people. So you need to identify what is it that is helping you calm down when you're stressed and when you're very, very anxious. What works with you? It could be anything, like 2, 3 things that we just discussed. It could be meditation, it could be sleep, taking a power nap, it could be cold water shower, or listening to some soothing music. Or just going in a quiet corner where you feel it is very peaceful. Or just go out for a walk. That also helps. Just go out for a walk. Don't talk to anybody, don't listen anything. Just walk and come back. That also should help you ease down. Yeah. Any questions on this so far, whatever we have discussed? Okay. Now, what causes stress at workplace? Let's talk about it. Why do people feel that it's very stressful and all? If you don't take regular breaks from your work, I'm not saying go on a holiday every month, every week. No, take regular breaks, targets. Yes, see, that's where it is, targets. So it's the work stress. I mean, you targets everybody has, right? We all have targets, but what are we doing is we want to achieve. Suppose X is your target, and you have reached halfway. We try to, sometimes we give up. We feel we won't be able to achieve. We self doubt. We create self doubt and we lose the battle. Sometimes it does happen, and sometimes so much of pressure is there, we just succumb to the pressure, and when we succumb to the pressure, we lose our focus on our work. So what you need to do? Okay, If your seniors are giving you the pressure, perfectly all right. That's what they're supposed to do. And what are you supposed to do? You are supposed to put in your best efforts by focusing on what work you have taken up, rather than thinking and visioning about what the result will be, what the seniors will say. Okay, that will happen later on. Right now, live in the present. On the present moment, focus on the work that you have. If you do that, you will 100% achieve your targets, Saurabh. And at some point, if you don't even achieve, that's okay. There's always a next time. But you can't get stressed and have anxiety and panic attacks just for meeting those targets. Do you think that's worth it? I'm sure your answer will be no, but I'll still wait for your answer. But I feel yes. No, right? Exactly. So, yes, we all have targets, we all have dreams, we all have ambitions, we want to reach somewhere, but not at the cost of our health. So, whenever you come in a situation where you have to, you're really stressed out or anxious about something that is going to happen or you have to do, or the work pressure like bosses, targets, and all, take a break, talk to your seniors. If you need help, take help from your team, talk it out. Nothing is wrong, we shouldn't allow our ego to come in between over here. The second thing at workplaces, sometimes, when we are not perfectly well, like for example, you have cold, cough, or some kind of seasonal uh, thing that has come up, and then you still feel, no, I have to finish my targets or I have to go, otherwise, I will lose my position in the workplace. We try and push ourselves, we try and push ourselves and go to work and try to perform our best, but that's what we're doing wrong. When you're not well, you need to take that break and rest. We feel that when we rest, we are doing nothing, we are wasting our time. No, we are not wasting our time. Rest is something that body is demanding. Why do we fall sick? Why do we feel weak and all? Because you have overworked. And when you fall sick, what happens is your body is compulsorily making you rest. So you have pushed your body to that extent that it has made you fall sick and you have to rest. So don't do that. Keep a balance of work, rest, and everywhere. Don't overstretch. I'm not saying don't do anything or just do what you're comfortable. No, you cannot be living your life in your comfort zone. You have to go beyond your comfort zone, but not to the extent that you fall sick and your body pushes you to take rest, compulsory rest kind of thing. That's one thing. Do you agree with me, Sneha and Saurabh, on resting and balancing? Yeah. So don't over push yourself. If you're unwell, take a day off. Rest. Don't do anything. Don't look at your phone. Don't look at your mails. Don't do that. There's always going to be a tomorrow. And if you rest today, tomorrow you will be in a better shape to do your work. And when you are resting, when you're not doing anything, you're not whiling away your time. Your body is requiring that. Just keep that in mind. I used to do that, at some point in time. I used to feel, yeah, I used to feel that if I'm resting, I'm not doing anything. I can't be resting. But that's not what is true. I realized, and it's really not worth it. When your body says not to do anything, you have to sleep. You just go and sleep. And let me tell you one thing. I'm also more gym. I wish to, I go to the gym every morning, and the day I don't go, when I feel that I shouldn't be going, and when I still push myself, then I feel, I should have taken a day off from my gym. Though that exercising is required, but even my body needs rest. Same thing applies to your work also. Your body needs everything in moderation, not to the extreme. And what is the other thing at workplace that creates stress is lack of control. Now, it's not possible for us to control everything at workplace, right? And let's not just categorize it, generalize it for workplace. Anywhere, even at home, lack of control. And when I mean lack of control, it is we don't have control of deadlines. We don't have control of the stress and the pressure that is created. So when you become very helpless, that okay, I have to do this in so many hours, and I have reached halfway, and those thoughts and those when you come in those situations, that is where the stress is created. And let me tell you, everything every time will not be in your control. What is in your control? Only your thoughts. Because the way you think, you will feel. If you think, okay, I'm doing my best, even if I'm getting late, even if I'm missing the deadline, Nothing is going to end. If you create that thought, you see how your emotions and how your mindset and how what will you feel at that end point, as against uh, how am I, what if I meet, what if I miss my deadline? This will be end of the world. My boss will shout at me, or people will talk bad about me. If you think that, what will be your feeling? What will be your emotion at that point? If you compare both these thoughts and emotions, you will know exactly what I'm trying to tell you. So, whatever you think, your emotions and your feelings are going to be the same way. So don't create those thoughts. Even if you're really stressed against time and all, it's really not required. Yeah. Any questions on this, Neha? Also, very important thing when it comes to work stress is the environment, people around you. Yeah, people around you, the colleagues that you work with. Sometimes you are surrounded by people who are so much into gossiping. You may not be liking it. Plus we have, each one has his or her value system. We all have our values, right? And if you're working in an environment where the values are very different from that of yours, that's where you will feel the stress, that's where you'll be unhappy. That could be one of the thing that could be triggering your anxiety levels. So identify, and if possible, try and change the environment. I'm not saying you quit that job if you have so many gossip mongers around you, or if you have so many people complaining. You have many colleagues who just, since from morning till evening, they will just sit and complain about everything in the office, and that creates a very negative environment, for you. Or if you have somebody who will just come and gossip about everything that is happening in his house, her house, office, everybody's personal life, and you may just not like, and all these things and all these discussions are very, very negative. You may be feeling that. So what you can do, not necessarily you have to change the workplace, you can just cut off from it. Don't get engaged in that talk, in that discussion. Don't involve in that. So what will happen is, if you don't involve, if you don't engage, the person will stop talking about it. And even if he or she is talking, you can just, I mean, I would, first thing is, I would say not even listen to it, but just stay indifferent. That, okay, let him talk. For me, if you ask me, yes, you don't even have to put in 1 year and let it go from the other year. We say no, एक कान से सुनो दूसरे से निकालो. वो नहीं होता. It doesn't work that way. Between the 2 years, you have your brain, right? So if something is going from 1 year, before going from out from the second year, it goes in your brain, it registers. So when you hear somebody gossiping, when you hear somebody complaining, those thoughts and that kind of programming is getting inculcated in your thinking as well. So as much as possible, avoid all that. When you avoid all these things, and this is something in your hands. See, I'm not even talking that you go and correct anybody, which otherwise you can't. So these things are in your hand, and when you start writing down, I would always suggest that you write down what is it that is creating anxiety, stress for you. If it is any of these symptoms which we just discussed in the office environment, write it down. What is it that is bothering you so much more? Once you write it down, you'll know how to control it and how to avoid it, right? And very, very important is, you need to have someone. It could be someone in your office also, even at some point, even your boss. If you have very good relations with your boss, you can always share and discuss these things with him or her. So it's very important you have someone who can hear you, right? Any questions on this, girls? Sneha, Ashok, Saurav, any questions on this? Yeah. So how do we sum up the whole thing? It's first we need to identify what is creating. It could be anything. It could be work related stress. It could be the big event that we are planning. It could be anything. Identify what is triggering you, and identify what is escalating that feeling in you. Once you identify what causes that feeling, what escalates, it will be very, very easy for you to eliminate it. Talk about it, and that is something that can ease you off immediately. Get into some kind of meditation, some kind of music and all. That's something that can help you. Yeah. Also, at some point, without reason, you may just feel very tearful. You just want to sit and cry. Those feelings also come up. Without reason, you're just lost. You just feel sad. You have nothing, you feel as if there is a huge vacuum around you. All these are symptoms of you're getting into some kind of anxiety, you're getting into some kind of depressive mode. When these thoughts and these feelings they begin, if you identify why it is happening and write it down, you can avoid it getting into the worst situation. Yeah. Depression and stress and panic attacks just don't happen overnight. They start with small symptoms. They small with small incidents. So if you're aware that these are the things or these are the feelings, emotions that are going to eventually result in the big demon like depression and panic attack and anxiety attacks, you will be much more in control and you can easily avoid all that. Fine. So, whenever you feel anything, write it down, identify it, and then try and avoid those things. Any questions relating to this, you can connect with me. You can put it on the chat. I've already shared my social media links. You can connect with me on Instagram. And any questions about this session or otherwise, you can connect with me. Yeah. So, I'll take your leave, friends, and have a great evening and a wonderful weekend. Bye.